Hey guys, my name's Gary. I'm an alcoholic and a drug addict, and I'm in recovery, recovering from alcoholism and drug addiction. Okay, and I've been sober 7 months. So today, I want to tell you my personal experience on step 12. So we've done all the steps now. After today, it will be the 12th step. There's 12 steps to any recovery program, based on the 12 steps. Excuse me, guys. I'm a little sick today. Okay, having had a spiritual awakening, step 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all of our affairs. Okay, there's 3 parts to that, right? So I've had a spiritual awakening. I'm a completely different man than when I got here, because I've worked the 12 steps, and it can't help but do something to you. In step 1, we admit to our innermost selves that we're alcoholic. And then step 2, we come to believe that there is a power greater than ourself that can restore us to sanity and get our life back on track. And step 3, we trust that power to go into the next steps, which is the inventory, the self-reflection. Then we use that power again, and we talk to that power in step 6, and we ask ourselves, am I willing to have this stuff removed? And then we go into step 7, and say, God, please remove, God, or higher power, however you want to say it. Please remove these defects of character and direct my attention to who you would have me be. And then we do our amends. We make our amends list, and we make our amends. And with that amends list comes all those promises that I had read, the 9-step promises. And then we continue to take personal inventory, and then we pray and meditate through step 11. And then, having had this awakening, so it talks about having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps. I mean, I talk to my father probably once every couple of weeks. We text, but probably, we have a good talk with him every couple of weeks, and he just, he's like blown away, just blown away that who I am today compared to 7 months ago. He keeps saying, you're not the same guy, like you're just a different guy, right? Yeah, it's my father, but it's my father, right? He knows me better than probably I know myself, right? Because he's seen a lot of those defects that I haven't discovered yet. but what he's trying to say is, I've seen the spiritual awakening in you. I'm sure my kids have seen it also, but they know how big my ego is. So if they tell me, hey Dad, you're so cool now, you're doing so great, they don't want to pump up my ego. But they say it too. So that's the first part of the 12th step, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps. We try to carry this message, right? So now we carry the message to the people who are still sick, suffering from alcoholism and drug addiction. And, a little bit what I do on these videos, right? And I find these prospects also in AA meetings. And, I'm open to people just in life. I talked to a friend over the weekend that I've known for years. We've actually partied together and stuff, but she's obviously, I know her pretty well. She's not like me. She's not put together like me. She can do some blow and, not keep it in her purse for a fucking month. And then, and I was talking to her, I was like, I always wondered how the hell you could do that, How could you do a little bit of blow and then just keep it in your purse for a fucking 2 weeks and then do a little bit later? It was like, it would just drive me nuts. Like, how do you do that? I had no idea, because if I buy blow, I got to do all of it in that night, right? If it's an 8-ball or a gram or 10 grams, it's like it's all gone that night, right? So if you find yourself doing any kind of drug or alcohol that way, you're maybe alcoholic. You may want to look into that, right? And then the third part, right, of that step, and to practice these principles in all of our affairs. So let me read it one more time. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, right, which I just spoke about, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics, right? And to practice these principles in all of our affairs. The principles meaning the 12 steps. So, and all the principles we've learned from it. The self-reflection, the going to God, turning our will and our life over to care of God. It's a daily thing. It's not I graduate. Once we hit the 12th step, hey, I graduated. Now I don't have to do any other work, and I can fucking start drinking again. If we're lucky, we get to do this our whole life, right? So let me read this now. It's just the page. It's page 89 to chapter 7. Okay, working with others. This chapter's all on the 12th step. Okay, in carrying the message. I'm just going to read the first page because I think it outlines it pretty good here. Practical experience shows that nothing will so much ensure immunity from drinking or drug addiction as intensive work with other alcoholics or drug addicts. I added the drug addicts by the way to that. So if you want to ensure immunity from drugs and alcohol, it's telling you there's nothing that will ensure immunity like working with others. So, there's people in AA that I've heard them say, oh, you don't work, you just work the first 3 steps the whole, for your first year. Don't worry about all that other shit. Bullshit, man. Bullshit. You can't work the steps wrong. They're going to be different every time you work them. My suggestion is, and what worked for me, I worked the steps. I did have a head start because I had 10 years of sobriety, but who gives a fuck? Jump in. Feet first and get busy, And if you don't, my conception of God is still evolving. Yours can too, Yours can too. And let me finish. Practical experience shows that nothing... Now, when I say alcoholic, I mean drug addict too, okay? This book was written in 1935. So they weren't, there was still Coke and stuff like that around, but that was a good Coke back then. But this stuff, you gotta remember the time it was written, okay? It says men a lot instead of women, and I'm not even going to get into that. But so... Practical experience shows that nothing will so much ensure immunity from drinking as intensive work with other alcoholics. It works when other activities fail. This is the 12th suggestion. Carry this message to other alcoholics. You can help when no one else can. So we can understand other alcoholics where the doctor, the psychiatrist, psychologist, the priest, where, the wife, the kids, they don't understand. They can't help you. But when we get sober and we sober up, we can help others because we understand. We've been right where they're at or similar situations. You can secure their confidence when others fail. Remember, they're very ill. Life will take on new meaning. To watch people recover, to see them help others, to watch loneliness vanish, to see a fellowship grow up about you, to have a host of friends. This is an experience you must not miss. We know you will not want to miss it. Frequent contact with newcomers and with each other is the bright spot of our lives, and it is. I mean, that's proven to be. You hear me talk about the people in my posse. The woman that I'm become very good friends with, and the guy with 30 years. These are my peeps, man. These are the people I talk to on a daily basis. Whether they like it or not, they're hearing from me. Not every day, but most days. Perhaps you are not acquainted with any drinkers who want to recover. You can easily find some by asking a few doctors, ministers, priests, hospitals, or going to an AA meeting. That's not in here, but it should be. They will be only too glad to assist you. Don't start out as an evangelist or a reformer. Unfortunately, a lot of prejudice exists. You will be handicapped if you arouse it. Ministers and doctors are competent, and you learn much from them if you wish to. But it happens that because of your own drinking experience, you can be uniquely useful to other alcoholics. So cooperate, never criticize. To be helpful is our only aim. So to be helpful, that's, when you approach these people, that's your only aim, is to be helpful. And it goes on to say, if they don't want it, move on. You're just going to, you could be fucking up a future opportunity. So don't try to jam this shit down their throat. Hopefully I don't come across like that to anybody here. I mean, you don't have to watch. Go to a different station, right? Nobody's watching anyway. I think you get like 50 views, 70 views. But, the way this works in my life, right? It always comes out of just being me and being honest. Usually in a meeting, I'll share something and I don't even know what I'm sharing. The last time I met somebody new, and I talk about her a lot, she raised her hand in a meeting right after I shared, and I was a basket case full of tears. I had just come back from Long Beach, identifying my son's body that died from an accidental fentanyl overdose 3.5 months ago, or 3 months ago. And so I'm in a meeting and I'm just there to get well. And I don't know why I was there. I was there just because that's what I do. And I went to a meeting and I couldn't, I was a basket case. And I cried and snot was flying everywhere, and I was talking about my son, and I looked up and there was not a dry eye in the room. Everybody felt the pain that I was walking through. And they probably saw a very vulnerable, willing person that did not want to drink. A guy in a lot of pain and getting through his life, right? And I don't know what that looked like because I was the guy doing it. Come on, Bob. That's my cat, Bob. I was the guy in the middle of it, in the middle of the fucking hurricane. I was in the eye of the hurricane when it happened. And I can only think what it might have looked like. And so I share, and I don't know if it was the next person that shared, or it was either the next person or the person after that. And I look over and she raises her hand and she's nervous as hell. And she said, "I'm shaking right now." And I'm usually pretty comfortable in front of people. She does a lot of speaking type thing for a living. And she says, my hands are sweaty and I'm shaky, and this is the first time I'm going to say this in front of people, is I'm an alcoholic. My cat just fucking bit me. Get the fuck away from me, man. My cat just bit me, man. So, because I'm not petting him. You may need a meeting. He's giving me the dirtiest look right now. He's definitely alcoholic. So untreated. So she raises her hand and she says, "Yeah, I'm nervous as hell. And she's shaking, and I'm an alcoholic, and if this guy can do it, I should be able to do this thing, right? Something similar to that." And we've been great friends ever since. We spoke after the meeting, and I talked to her a little bit today, a little bit yesterday. She's kicking ass. She just took 60 days. She had a month, and then she slipped, and then now she got 60 days. So so she's one of those bright spots in my life. And then to watch her help others, and she's helping other people right now. She has a pretty large platform, and to be able to do that, and she's doing that. So I look at that, and I'm like, I love this thing that we do. I love Alcoholics Anonymous, and it's the bright spot of my life. And then I've got a guy with 30 years I talk to all the time, and he's the one usually helping me, but I've helped him a couple times. But he's been around 30 years without taking a drink. That's a long fucking time, man. He got sober as like a teenager or something. I don't know when he got sober. He's my age. He's got 30 years, so no, it was your early 20s. So, anyways, so that's it. It's something you don't want to miss, but wonderful thing, this program of Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, whatever Anonymous, Cocaine Anonymous, whatever the fuck you're in. It's best deal in town for $1. You go to those meetings, we're self-supporting through our own contributions. We don't take outside donations. I think in the tradition we could take up to $1,000 for our group, as a donation, but that's it. So, I go to a meeting. It's called the Pink House in Austin, Texas, and it's man, it's a little tiny little house, an old house. The meeting's like 45 years old. And there's like, I don't know, probably 30 chairs set up in this little living room, right? And it's got another little, like a little bedroom and a little kitchen. And that's it. And then a little restroom. That's it. That's the house. Really tiny. Probably 600 square foot house. It's called the Little Pink House. And very famous. My cat just bit me again. I'm going to fucking kill him. And it's a place where I get well. And it's a very spiritual place. We dig into some shit in that room. And it's very, it's very liberal in there, I mean, if you're one of those hard-nosed AA people that you can't talk about drugs and in an AA meeting and da-da-da, this isn't like that at all. We talk about whatever, slamming dope, whatever you need to talk about. It's, I didn't like it the first day because I was like, oh man, these bunch of liberals, I don't like this room, And I looked for the, because I'm alcoholic. That's what we do. Immediately look for the differences. It's real easy to judge your way right out of a fucking meeting and be alone. That's what your head wants you to do because it wants you to take a fucking drink. So you got to take contrary action, right? And I knew that, so I kept going. And within a couple meetings, I was hooked. And then to watch the way everybody handled me when I going through the death of my son. Men with 25 years, 45 years, and and the women are always great too because they're real sensitive. Women are more sensitive than men. It's they outwardly show. They're I don't have a woman in my life right now, so I get that from the women in AA. The conversations and hearing a woman's perspective. There's a woman that I talk to on a regular basis. I've never met her, and she lives in France. She was one of the first women that, she was one of the first people that ever, it was like my first video I put out, or second video, and this woman just started, messaging me, and she loved what I was doing right off the bat, and she wasn't sober, and and here's another 12th step thing, right? And I got to tell you, the other woman that I talk about frequently, she helps me as much as I help her. So probably more. Probably more. But this other woman, and I'm not going to mention her name because I don't want to embarrass her, but she's from France. And so we talked for like 3 months back and forth. She's watched every fucking video I made, like my biggest fan, if you can have, if I have fans or whatever, but I'm not a public personality or anything like that. I do some fucking videos, try to help people. But we got this relationship going, and we email each other, and she posts on all my videos, good job or whatever. But she's got 16 days today. So she got 16 days. And I'm not afraid to say I helped her do that. I'm proud of that. And I'm not afraid to say she's helped me. She has a different view of the world. Remember, I'm a man. She's a woman. I'll never know what it's like to be a woman. I can always try to put myself in a woman's shoes, but it's much easier for me to put myself in a man's shoes because most of those situations, I've been in, and I understand them because I'm a man. I'll never be a woman. So when I have a woman come at me with kindness and love and give me advice, or she just has a different spin, and she talks from her heart, and it comes through. Emails, and she sent me songs. I mean, I've read her emails and just started bawling. Like, she deeply feels the loss of my son. She deeply feels how that's hit me. And probably she just can articulate it and so beautifully. I don't have that kind of talent or vocabulary. I'm very limited to how I can communicate with you people. And I want to thank you, lady from France. So you know exactly who you are, and you're important to me, and you've made a change in my life. So, and I don't even know you. I don't know how you live your life. I don't know. You've sent pictures of your family, and you've sent me songs, and man, I keep listening to this one song. I don't want to say the guy's name. I'll probably fuck it up. I think it's Nick Cave, I want to say, or something. In the Beehives. Nick Cave in the Beehives. I probably fucked it up. It's something similar to that. But I keep listening to the song over and over and over. And I think of you. So, thank you. So, 23 minutes, 50 seconds. I'm going to wrap this up. The 12th step. And I got to say, okay, ow, you fucking little bastard, man. I have a violent cat. So, he just got me again. I just want to say, on the 12th step, if you go into your day and you help anyone, whether it's an old lady crossing the street, start with this. Put your shopping cart back, okay? Start with little shit like that, Think of the guy making minimum wage that collects all those fucking shopping carts around the parking lot, right? Put your shopping cart back, man. You're not only helping the guy that's got to collect them, you're helping the old lady that can't get in the fucking spot because you left your goddamn fucking shopping cart right in the middle of a parking place or something. So start with the little things like that. And that's how I learned. start with, if you're involved in Alcoholics Anonymous or start with, get a coffee commitment. That's what my sponsor always said. We do things differently here in Austin. I do have a Tuesday commitment now. I chair a meeting, but and my name stays on that board, and as soon as somebody erases it, I'll put it right back up. And so I'll be at a meeting tomorrow at 5:30 in the afternoon, chairing a meeting, which means I'll run the meeting. I'll pick the topic and all that stuff. So, it's a big book study, so we read out of the big book. So I get to pick whatever I want, and we go from there. So, anyways, I'm going to wrap this up. I could talk forever. Thank you guys. Hopefully you get it, but help somebody. Help somebody. That's 12 steps. That's 12-step stuff. Help anybody. I'm helping my cat right now. I'm scratching his head so he doesn't bite me. But I love him, and I love you guys. Keep those messages coming, okay? And the lady in France, I love you. You know who you are. Thanks, guys. Until next time.